Let's talk about the corner turn, which is step 3D, the final step in the CFBLL method. Hey folks, welcome to the Pug Solves Cubes channel. I'm Pugs, a very mid-speed cuber with an average solve time around 35 seconds. I don't compete, I don't turn that fast, I'm not trying to set any records or even get all that much faster. I just love solving the cube as quickly as I can. As a quick recap of where we're at in the CFBLL method, we've done cross on the bottom and F2L like we would have done in the CFOP method. But step 3 is where CFBLL deviated from CFOP. Instead of doing orientation of the last layer and permutation of the last layer to close out the solve like we would have done in CFOP, in CFBLL, we're using the beginner last layer method to finish up the solve. The beginner last layer step is actually a grouping of 4 possible steps. We have yellow cross if needed, edge swap if needed, corner cycle if needed, and corner turn if needed. These steps are all if needed because we may get lucky on a solve and one or more of these steps will already be done by the time we get to it and we'll be able to skip right over it. In previous episodes, we've covered step 3A, the yellow cross, step 3B, the edge swap, and step 3C, the corner cycle. In this episode, we're finishing up the solve and closing out this series of videos with step 3D, the corner turn. In the previous step, we put all of the yellow corners on the top layer in their proper place. They're all living where they're supposed to live, but whether or not they were turned yellow tile up properly wasn't addressed. So that's what we're finishing out in this step. We're turning any remaining corners so that the yellow tile is on the yellow face, facing upwards like it should be. And we will have either 2 corners needing to be turned, or we will have 3 corners needing to be turned, or we will have 4 corners, all 4 corners needing to be turned. It really doesn't matter because all 3 of these scenarios will be addressed the same way, whether we have 2 corners, 3 corners, or 4 corners remaining to be turned yellow side up. It doesn't matter. We address them all in the exact same way. It is common for tutorials about the beginner method to teach us to flip the cube over at this point so that the yellow face is on the bottom, and then we would use the sexy move algorithm to turn the yellow corner pieces so that the yellow tile is on the yellow face where it belongs. This is taught primarily because the sexy move algorithm is used earlier in the beginner method, so we have already learned it, we already know it. But for CFBLL, we do not flip the cube over. Instead, we flip the sexy move over and do the inverted version of it. There are 2 benefits to this approach. First, we gain back whatever time is lost to rotating the cube. Granted, that's not a lot. It is just 2, it's 2 regrips. It doesn't take a lot of time to rotate the cube, but we do gain that little bit of time back, right? The second, more important reason is that it helps with our look ahead by leaving the yellow face that we are working on where we can see it on top. Remember that the bottom and middle layers are solved, so we don't need to look for pieces in either of those 2 layers. Everything we need to work with is right up here, so we leave the yellow face on top. Okay, what does the sexy move, this inverted sexy move, look like and how do we perform it? So like the previous episodes, all of the demos will be shown both right and left-handed. And you can absolutely perform this step, 3D, the corner turn. You can perform this step using only the right-handed version of it or only the left-handed version. I strongly recommend that you learn both, and we'll cover why you should learn both as one of the tips at the end of the episode. Okay, if you are right-handed, the inverted sexy move algorithm looks like R prime, D prime, R, D. Let's do that one more time. R prime, D prime, R, D. And you can see it turned, we turned the yellow tile up so that it's on the yellow face. And if you're left-handed, let's reset the cube real quick. Okay, if you're left-handed, the inverted sexy move algorithm looks like L, D, L prime, D prime. Do that again. L, D, L prime, D prime. As with the other algorithms that we've covered in this series, I recommend practicing this one over and over again until it's motor memory. As mentioned earlier, you will find yourself with one of three possible scenarios. The first scenario is that all four of the yellow corners need to be turned. The second scenario is that 3 corners need to be turned. And then the third scenario is that only 2 corners need to be turned. It is mathematically impossible to have just one corner needing to be turned. If you find yourself with a cube in that state where only one corner needs to be turned, that means you have a twisted corner, and you'll have to twist that corner back manually in order to fix your cube. If you have 2 corners that need to be turned, it can be any 2 corners. Right now, it just happens that they are placed diagonally across from each other in this example, but it can be any 2 corners. It doesn't matter. We address it the same way regardless. All right. In order to properly turn a yellow corner piece so that the yellow tile is on the yellow face facing upwards like it should be, we're going to follow 2 steps. The first step is to orient the top layer so that a corner piece that needs to be turned is in the proper place to be turned. And then to turn it, we're going to do either 2 or 4 inverted sexy move algorithms. So let's start with the right-hand example. If you're going to do the right-handed version of the algorithm, you are going to orient the top layer so that a corner piece that needs to be addressed, it doesn't matter which corner piece we start with, but so that a corner piece that needs to be addressed is in the lower right corner of the top layer. And then we are going to do either 2 or 4 inverted sexy move algorithms. And that looks like R prime, D prime, R, D, that's 1. R prime, D prime, R, D, that's 2. And you can see that we have properly turned that corner piece so that the yellow tile is on the yellow face facing upwards like it should be. But we've done damage to the bottom layer and the middle layer. They are no longer solved. And that's okay, because no matter how many corners you need to turn, whether it's 2 corners that need to be turned or 3 or 4, when you turn the last corner, it will repair the damage done to the bottom and the middle layers. So to demonstrate that, we are going to solve this last corner. So we're going to place it in the lower right-hand corner of the top layer. And it's important to remember, if you do the first corner with the right-handed algorithm, you have to do all the corners with the right-handed algorithm. Similarly, on the left side, if you start with the left-handed algorithm, you have to do all the corners with the left-hand algorithm. Okay, we have properly oriented the top layer so that the corner piece needing to be addressed is here in the lower right-hand corner. Now we are going to do our 2 or 4 inverted sexy move algorithms. And that looks like R prime, D prime, R, D1, R prime, D prime, R, D2, R prime, D prime, R, D3, R prime, D prime, R, D4. You can see that we have properly turned that corner piece so that the yellow tile is on top, and we have fixed the damage done to the bottom two layers. All that's left is for us to now orient the top layer so that we have solid colors on every face, thereby solving our cube. All right, the left-handed version of the corner turn looks like this. Instead of orienting a corner piece that needs to be addressed needs to be turned in the lower right corner of the top layer, we're going to orient it in the lower left corner of the top layer. So we've oriented this corner piece that needs to be turned. We've oriented it in the lower left, and now we're going to do 2 or 4 left-handed inverted sexy move algorithms. And that looks like this. L, D, L prime, D prime. That's 1. L, D, L prime, D prime. That's 2. We have successfully turned that corner piece. We have done damage to the bottom and middle layers. That's okay because we're about to repair that by turning the last corner. So we have oriented the last corner that needs to be addressed in the lower left hand because we started with the left hand algorithm on the first one. And we're going to do either 2 or 4 inverted sexy moves. So that's L, D, L prime, D prime, 1. L, D, L prime, D prime, that's 2. L, D, L prime, D prime, that's 3. L, D, L prime, D prime, that's 4. We have successfully turned that corner. We have solved the bottom and the middle layers, resolved. We fixed the damage to the bottom and middle layers. And either by luck or by planning, we don't have to orient that top layer. It is already oriented for us, and we have solid colors all around on every face, and thereby solving our cube. It is very important to note that we have to orient the corner pieces by turning the top layer, not by rotating the cube. This is essential in order to keep the mathing so that the damage that gets done to the bottom and the middle layers gets undone with the last one. For instance, if we go ahead and were to do this by, instead of turning the top layer, we were to 1, 3, 4. And now to get to this corner piece, if we rotate the cube as opposed to turning the top layer, and then we solve that corner, we have solved the corner, but the bottom and the middle layer have not been resolved. Instead, they've gotten worse. So if you want to know the math behind that, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to explain. All right, tips. Like the previous 3 episodes, this first tip is to really nail down the finger tricks that you use for this inverted sexy move algorithm. You want to be able to perform the algorithm the exact same way every time. So figure out the most efficient way for you to perform it, and then practice doing it that way until it becomes motor memory. For me, and I'm sure most people, the way it breaks down is this. I do a regrip, and it's a small regrip. From home grip, my thumb and ring finger are just going on top and on bottom. And so I do that regrip. I turn that side, and then I do a ring finger flick. And then I turn the side back, and I do a ring finger flick with the other hand. And that sets us up to launch into the next one, because remember, we're doing this inverted sexy move algorithm in sets of 2 or 4. So I can go right into the next one. And you'll notice that This ring finger, the other hand ring finger, is basically riding that bottom layer back and forth. So as I do this, it never really changes, it never leaves that bottom layer. So that I am riding that bottom layer back and forth with my other ring finger. If I do it on the right hand, it's the same thing. So it's that regrip. And again, it's a very small regrip. I'm just basically from home grip, I'm putting my ring finger and my thumb. I guess my middle finger kind of goes to the bottom layer also. But it's a regrip. I turn that layer. I do that ring finger flick. It's kind of hard to show the top camera. And then I turn that side layer back and I do a ring finger flick with the other hand. And remember, I'm now riding that bottom layer with this ring finger, with the other ring finger. So I'm set up for the next one. So I can do that side turn, ring finger flick, turn the side back, other ring finger flick. I'm just riding that bottom layer with the other ring finger so that I can be as smooth as possible. And remember, the smoother we are, the faster we end up being. Tip 2 is to practice the algorithm as a fidget activity whenever you're sitting idle. When you're watching TV or staring at a wall or whatever, that's an opportunity to just fidget with the cube and practice the algorithm. If you do the inverted sexy move algorithm 6 times, the cube will return to its starting configuration. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're back to the starting configuration. So start with a solved cube. Look away from your hands, look away from the cube. Remember, we want this to be about feel and motor memory and not have it be a visual activity. So start with a solved cube, look away, and then do the algorithm 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then check your cube. If it's back in a solved state, you know you've done it correctly. Let's do that on the right side. So we start with the solved cube, and then we look away and we do 6 algorithms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check the cube. It's back in a solved state, so we know we've done it correctly. If it's not solved, you know that something went wrong. So we need to focus on going as slowly as we need to go to make it smooth and accurate. Remember that the speed comes with how smooth and accurate you are down the road, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You really should practice this algorithm in both hands, and we'll get to why in a moment in a later tip. Tip 3 is to work on your look ahead. And generally speaking, this third tip is a very difficult one to execute. But we will have no more than 4 pieces to track in this final step. And really, we only have to be focusing at 1 piece at a time. And that's the 4 corner pieces. We'll have no more than 4. We might have 2, we might have 3, but we'll have no more than 4 pieces to track, and we're really only focusing on 1 piece at a time during this final step, and that makes look ahead a little bit easier. So the key thing, or the first thing I should say, to pay attention to is where the yellow tile is. When a corner piece is properly oriented, and we're assuming the right-handed algorithm here, when a corner piece is properly oriented, the yellow tile will either be on the side face, it'll be facing the side, or it will be on the front face, it'll be facing towards us. If the yellow tile, when the corner piece is properly oriented, if the yellow tile is facing off to the side, it's going to need 2 inverted sexy move algorithms in order to turn it yellow side on top, yellow tile on top where it should be. If the yellow tile is facing towards us, if it's on the front face, it will take 4 inverted sexy move algorithms to get it to be on the yellow face, on the top face. So while we are working on this one, I can be staring at this corner piece because my hands are moving by motor memory. It's doing those 2 inverted sexy move algorithms by motor memory. So while that is happening, I can be looking at this one and predicting where that yellow tile is going to end up. So I can flow directly from one to the next. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was able to flow from one corner directly into the next corner because I knew I could predict where the yellow tile would be facing. Similarly, on the left side, everything is the same, right? If we're doing the left-handed algorithm. So this tile is facing to the side. It is on the side face, so it's going to take 2 inverted sexy move algorithms. While I'm working on that, I can be staring at this one and predicting that it will end up facing towards us, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just have to orient the top layer and the cube is solved, right? So as your hands are solving one corner, look ahead at the next one, the next corner you're going to address, and figure out if it will need 2 or 4 algorithms to turn it so that the yellow tile is on top where it should be. Okay, another thing to look ahead at is to figure out how many flicks it's going to take to orient the next corner piece. So let's say I'm going to start with, actually I'm going to do this left-handed. I'm going to start with this corner piece because it's already oriented for me. I don't have to, I'm already where it needs to be, right? So I can start with this one and I do 2, 1, 2 inverted sexy move algorithms. And then I know it's going to be 1 flick to get to the next one. And I'm flicking with my other hand so that as I'm doing this one, 1, 2, and then I flick with the other hand, my hand is still in position to go right into this one. 1, 2. Now I know that looking ahead that this is going to need 2 flicks. 1, 2. So I'm looking ahead to figure out how many turns, whether it's a single flick or a double flick, to get to orient the next corner piece. And that saves us a little bit of time because you can see that a single flick and a double flick take almost the same amount of time as opposed to going single. So single flick, double flick, single, right? You can see that the double flick is faster. So that's just shaving a few milliseconds, a half second here or there off of your time, but that can add up. So look ahead and plan for how you're going to get to the next piece. Another related to that, the third thing that you can look ahead at is how you're going to orient the top layer once the last corner piece is done. So if I start with this corner piece, I go 1 and I turn that properly, 1, and then I turn this one. As I'm turning this one, I know that I am looking at blue tiles, right? This blue edge piece, I know that I'm looking at blue tiles, and I know I'm going to need a double flick to orient the top layer when I'm done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, double flick, and now the top layer is oriented and the cube is solved. So as you are working on the last corner piece, look at whether or not, so if I'm looking at orange, I know that I'm going to have to do a left-handed flick, single flick, to get to all the colors being solid all around. If I'm looking at these red tiles, I know that it's going to be a single flick going the other direction. If I'm looking at blue, I know that it's a double flick, right? So as you are working on the last corner, just pay attention to how you are going to, what move you're going to have to do, whether it's a single flick or a double flick, and which direction a single flick was going to have to go to orient the top layer to finish out your solve. And again, I get that this is far more challenging when you're turning at reasonable speeds. All of these little tips here are, these look-ahead tips are difficult to execute when you're turning at reasonable speeds. So go slow. Practice slowing down and really thinking through each sequence of moves before you start executing it. Know exactly what you're going to do so that you can plan the next sequence of moves as you're executing the current one. Tip number 4 is to be ambidextrous. This tip is why we said earlier that we want to practice with both hands. When there are 3 corners to turn, you want to be careful about which hand you choose to use, whether or not you're going to use the right-handed inverted sexy move algorithm or the left-handed inverted sexy move algorithm. So remember that if the yellow tile is facing front, it's on the front face when it's properly oriented. We're assuming a right-handed algorithm here. When it's facing front, you have to do 4 inverted sexy move algorithms in order to turn the yellow tile to the top, to the yellow face facing up where it's supposed to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if the yellow tile is facing the side, then it's only going to need 2 algorithms to turn it properly. So 1, 2. This means that if there are 2 corners that need to be turned, so let's set that up. Okay, if there are 2 corners that need to be turned, one corner is going to take 2 sexy move algorithms, 1, 2, and the other corner is going to take 4 algorithms, 1, 2, 3, 4. It always adds up to 6 or a multiple of 6. So 6 or 12, basically. It's always going to take either a total of 6 or 12 sexy move algorithms, inverted sexy move algorithms. So if there are 4 corners that need to be turned, let's set that up. So okay, if we have 4 corners that need to be turned, 2 of them are going to take 4 sexy move algorithms to turn that corner, and 2 of them are only going to take 2. So let's do this left-handed. So this is going to take 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This will take 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means that the other 2 are going to only take 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2. So for those 2 scenarios, you can use whichever hand you want. It doesn't matter. But if there are 3 corners to be turned, and let's set that up. So okay, if there are 3 corners that need to be turned, the hand you choose will make the difference between doing 2 algorithms per corner piece or 4 algorithms per corner piece. This is the difference between a total of 6 algorithms or 12 algorithms. And depending on how fast your turning rate is, your turns per second, depending on how fast your TPS is, choosing the right hand, or the correct hand, I should say, choosing the correct hand can shave a couple of seconds off of your time. So the yellow tile on all 3 corner pieces, when you only have 3 corner pieces to turn, the yellow tile will be facing the same direction when it's properly oriented. So if I choose to do this with the left-handed algorithm, then I'm doing only 2 algorithms per corner piece because they're all facing the side. If I choose to do the right-handed algorithm, this is going to give me 4 4 algorithms per side because the yellow tile is facing the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. As opposed to if I choose the left hand, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 algorithms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it can be the other way. If we set that up. So now it's going to take, if I'm doing the right-handed algorithm, it would only take 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As opposed to if I chose incorrectly and I chose to start with my left hand, it would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you can see that that's going to shave time off of it's going to shave seconds off of our total solve time. So use your look ahead to try to predict how many corners will need to be turned. And if you see that 3 corners will need to be turned, try to predict which way the yellow tiles of those corner pieces will face, so that you can choose the correct algorithm, either the right-handed version of the algorithm or the left-handed version of the algorithm. And again, this is much easier said than done, especially when you're going full speed. So once again, slow down. Being smooth and accurate is always faster than making mistakes. And I think that's it. That's it for this video and for this series on the CFBLL method.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell for more content like this. Until the next video, happy cubing y'all.